Hey, this is how to set your gear motor after you've either changed it or you've changed out your gearing. I haven't changed out my gearing, but I have changed my motor. The first thing you will need is a little screwdriver, and I do believe you'll need two sizes of Allen wrenches. I'm just not 100% which two for this one, but I do believe two different size Allen wrenches. I did a little bit of work already just so it'd be quicker. I also like to lay down my screws in the same order I've taken it off of my truck, just to put it back in the same way. But you'll have those 4 screws right there. Now if you've cut your drive shafts, you'll just be able to push it one way. And actually I found it's easier to push it this way, pop it off, and you'll be able to get this out. Then you'll have a screw here, then another one here which I didn't take off yet. Man, because it's just a short, fast screwed on screw. Now you'll see you have there and there. Now, what you're doing is changing your motor out. What you'll look for is that guy right there, which you can have that, but you don't have to take that off first, because you can take that off. There is room for this gear to go through there. You'll need this one to loosen there and there. Now, to mesh it good so it's got a good, nice motion. I messed it up the first time I did it when I took it off. Thankfully, I checked it quick enough that it didn't do too much damage, but as you can see, I did put some of the color from my brass onto this plastic. And I do believe that this is just a plastic. I mean, it does not feel like it's metal to me, so thankfully I didn't tear it up, but I had it too tight the first time I did it. So I didn't have a sheet of paper. I actually closed it right up on the gear. What you're going to want is like a thin sheet of paper. This is just a thin sheet of instructions for a torch lighter. But as you notice, it's very thin. What I was actually looking for was the instructions that went to my charger, because those are also pretty thin sheets of paper. What you're going to do is, while you have your motor in, with these slightly tightened back down, but loose enough to where you can slide your motor, you're going to take a sheet of paper, and you're going to push it between the 2 gears, start closing the motor, spin the gear until you can feel that it's mashing up on your paper, and then push down on your motor, and then tighten one down, feel it, spin the paper a little bit, push down and hold while the paper's wedged in between the 2 gears. In between this gear and this gear, you're going to hold it while it's wedged in, take your Allen wrench, and then start tightening it down. Tighten them both down as really tight as you can. I mean, don't go like too aggressive, but make sure it's as snug as when you first took off your original motor. Then when you're done, hopefully your paper shouldn't want to be really easily want to pull out this way. And as you can tell on this one, you can see my gear marks from when I actually rolled the paper out between my gears to actually free the paper out of the gears. And I gave it a good spin, said, all right, that's a lot looser than the last time I did it. It actually spins on this one. This one still gives a little bit of resistance, but not as much anymore, because I have been running this motor quite a bit now, so it's pretty good it's been broken in pretty good. After that, because it has an open-end design, like I said before, where I thought I might put a little bit of grease in here, has that open notch in here for the drive shaft to fit in. I've actually opted no grease whatsoever, just to put it back like that, just because out here, you've seen the dirt I have. All that it would do is clog this up. Put it back together. Found the easiest way I found is put one of your screws back in first, and then tighten it back down onto the plate. Then go ahead and do all your screws right there real quick. Tighten them down, one after the other right here, where it doesn't much matter, you tighten it down. When it comes to this, it's kind of a little bit tricky because this is actually a really good fit. So when you're screwing it back in, I found the easiest way I found was to put one screw in, come over to this side, line it up, screw it in a little bit, go to your next one, and then your next one. And then once you got a little bit of it all screwed back in, and you have it like that, screw them in slightly, but try not to have this really pulling in any one direction. And then as it starts going down, I like to do pretty much like what I like doing this one. I start actually getting some tension down on it. Is then I start like to go to the star pattern of a little bit more here, 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 here. I like to just kind of start up until it's really snug, but don't over tighten it because you most definitely don't want to strip any of those. And then your drive shaft's back in, or your motor will be back in, and that will be set, and it should be loose enough. Just when you first drive it, try to do it where it's quiet and you can listen to it, and you'll definitely know if you've done it a little too tight, because it'll give a lot more of a throatier sound coming from it, and it's really not your motor unless you really put a big motor in, which that would require a lot more work than I've done. Like I said in a post, I don't mess with my gearing at all. All I've done is changed my motor from the 370 that was a stock motor to a 370 28 turn, and I swapped out, or I didn't swap out, but I've also upgraded my battery, so I run with 2 batteries. In case you're wondering, I don't go LiPo, I went with this, because if you've seen the video, it's very dry here, and if I got this up 20 feet, 25 feet, and it slips and falls, and one of those LiPos hits a rock, it's going to pop and start a fire, and out there, that's a blaze, and then next thing you know, no one's allowed to crawl out there. So I just went with this. It's a lot safer. I can take that fall, and worst case scenario is I'm just going to have to take out some rags and wipe up this battery acid and put it in a bag, so that way I'm not leaving a mess out there, so no one wants to stop me from doing what I'm doing, or others, because of tearing the place up. So that's how to set your gear, or your drive gear for your motor to your box. I hope that helped. And just remember, I do have a video running where it sounds really throaty, and it sounds almost like it's running like a car or like a truck. That wasn't the motor actually making that sound, or it wasn't completely the motor. I actually had it wound too tight, and that's why I went back and checked. And then that went away really quick, and thankfully I did it soon enough that I didn't put too much damage on the motor, and I didn't damage my gear, but I did give it kind of a nice brassy look. So that's not a brass gear, it's just I tightened that down way too tight the first time. I had to go back and reset it. And so hopefully after this video, nobody else will ever have to go through that problem. Thank you.